Pretty bad. That's,
Yeah.
single mothers. Yikes. 4498686, Phil Hendry Show. Margaret Gray coming up, renting to single mothers. Yikes.
1-800-449-8686. The world-famous Phil. This is the Phil Hendry Show.
Margaret Gray joins us, nationally syndicated newspaper columnist. Her column, A Little Bird Told Me, appears in some 150 newspapers nationwide. And you've recently gotten into renting home. You speculate in real estate, is that correct?
Well, we do when you say speculate, Phil, we don't buy large commercial properties. We do purchase homes. We do purchase townhomes, apartment buildings.
And why do you do that? Obviously real estate speculation is ultimately to make a profit.
Well, we do own them to rent. Sometimes we do flip them, what we call in real estate flipping them or selling them. In other words, you buy it and you improve the property, then you sell it. And it's really my business. Frank is not all that interested in real estate, but I love it. It's a great business because you have the opportunity to wheel and deal, but you feel good that maybe you're providing a home for someone. And certainly in the last year, it's been fairly lucrative in California and elsewhere. You want to be able to rent to families and help them get a start, a young couple.
So you're selling. You're not selling so much as you're renting them.
That is correct, yes.
All right, I wanted to ask you, today we see more and more single-parent homes, a father or a mother, a single parent with one or more children. Are you seeing more renters like that?
Yes, I have seen that. I've seen a few, and I have to be honest with you, I'm very careful with them.
Why is that?
Well, I'll tell you why. First of all, you don't see a lot of single fathers with custody of their children. When you do, your heart goes out to them a little bit. A father alone with his children. And, of course, he's working, but I worry a little more about the single mother, as do many landlord owners or rental agents.
Why?
Well, it's a little bit of a horse of a different color. Single mothers present a little bit of a different challenge. If I'm renting, I need to be assured that the financial situation is secure. When you're a single mother of, let's say, 2 or more children, and it's a little difficult to ask, but you want to find out if the children are all from the same man, and I'll tell you why.
You ask them if the children are all from the same man. That reminds me of my sister was actually babysitting some kids, and somebody wanted to know are those your kids, or are they all the same father?
Well, Phil, it's not a question you ask to insult anyone. When you see a single mother with 2 or more children, it is a logical question to ask: are these all children from the same man? And I'll tell you what, in terms of making sure the rent is met, it is not likely that she's getting child support. If, for instance, she's in the habit of sleeping with different men, it's none of my business, but it does create a lack of consistency. The other consideration is that...
Well, if a woman is the mother of children who are the children of more than one man, you're making the assumption that she's in the habit of sleeping with a lot of different men?
It is something you need to consider. A single mother with children, all of these things you have to consider. And no, it's not a question you'd like to ask, no. But
what was the other consideration?
Well, most of these single mothers generally are in the service industry as cocktail waitresses, food servers, they work takeout windows, and if the job is minimum wage and they rely on their tips, if they are a husky-looking young lady or they haven't had great dental care or any of this sort of thing, it will be tough. Again, my responsibility is to make sure the rent is paid. And
so if she's relying on tip money...
If she's relying on tip money, that's something else you have to think of when renting to single mothers.
Margaret Gray joins us. We're talking about renting. I find this interesting, talking about single mothers and the hazards of renting to single mothers. Are they sleeping with a lot of different men, I guess, is the question, because that... It
is not a moral question, Phil. It has to do with whether they're able to make the rent if they're getting child support. It's doubtful if they're getting child support if they're sleeping with... As I said, if they're sleeping with a lot of men, I don't know the responsibility there.
And also if they have service industry jobs. Our number is 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. Single mothers with children are a little bit tougher to rent to. Aren't you kind of profiling here? Let me ask you.
Well, no, Phil, we're not.
No, let me ask you. When you're renting townhomes, financially, it's a bit of a step up. The women, the single mothers that will want to rent from you might not be cocktail waitresses or something like that, right?
Well, that is true, but then when it comes to single mothers, you have other considerations as well. You have your other renters to consider. You want to look out for their comfort and their well-being, and to, you look the look of some of my renters. A single mother is a woman who obviously is looking at some point for a man. And I don't want to rent to a woman who's going to be a threat to someone's marriage, what we used to call a home wrecker. I don't want a woman who is, casting around and looking at other women's husbands. You move a single mother into a townhome development where there are a lot of...
Let me interrupt you here, Margaret, could I?
Certainly.
It sounds to me like you're profiling these women. In other words, you're saying, like, what a lot of people used to say about black people. Well, they do this and they do that.
No, it's totally different. Phil, it's an unfair comparison.
Well, wait a minute. I don't want to rent to a black guy. Why? Well, because they're lazy and this and that.
No, that is wrong. You're absolutely... A single mother, it is not racism because we're talking about women that could be of any different ethnic persuasion. In other words, this is true of single mothers, whether they're black, white, brown, yellow, gray, or what have you. So no, it's entirely not the same thing.
All right, isn't it unfair, though, to single mothers to say that their intent is to steal some woman's husband?
Well, I'll tell you what's unfair is if you rent to one of these single mothers, and to be nice, you didn't charge her a security deposit. And in the case of this one mother that we rented to, she had 2 children. The carpeting near the front door was basically threadbare as the result of a parade of men going in and out of the townhouse. And I know it sounds harsh.
Well, wait a minute. If you've got 4 children...
No, I know it sounds... A woman can do whatever she wants. Either they're entertaining men at some unreasonable hour, or to comfort themselves, they let the kids sleep in the bed with them, and the room begins to smell. You can't get the smell out of the drapes. The carpeting suffers. We had this one mother who rented from us, and the child was a bedwetter. And it took 6 steam cleans to get the stink out. And I can tell you...
All right, look, if I can...
No, I can tell you, Phil, this doesn't have anything to do with profiling, though. Because, again, profiling is racism. And even for you to bring that up...
I don't mean to offend you, Ms. Gray.
But I think it does send the wrong message when you bring that up.
No, I don't mean to... And I'm not trying to send a message that you're a racist. I just simply asked if you say that single mothers... Now, you're saying that the carpeting in this house was threadbare because, quote, of a parade of men coming... I mean, isn't that a little harsh?
You know what, Phil, as the man said, I make them, I don't repair them, Is it harsh? Yes. Is it true? Yes. She's a single mother looking for an active social life. In this particular instance, the other couples in the complex certainly wanted to befriend her. But it's obvious when the woman is alone and you are a married woman and you see this single woman move in, it's obvious that she's casting around looking to sink a hook into one of the men there, whether they're married or not. The people in this complex would have none of it. And so, sure enough, it didn't take long, but you could almost clock it. Within probably 2 weeks, there was a Tournament of Roses parade going in and out of her place, a parade of men, along with the 4 children. Now, I don't judge what a woman does. It ruined the carpeting, the stench in the drapes, the stench in the bathroom. The mattress was destroyed by the bedwetting. All of this is something you have to take into consideration.
Are you taking a bath?
I am, Phil. Forgive me, but Frank and I are leaving we have an 11 o'clock flight. We're going to Austria. And
really?
Yes, and we're very excited about it. So if you don't mind me multitasking.
No, I can hear you taking a bath. All right, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. Margaret Gray joins us from her home in Santa Monica, and we're talking about renting to single mothers. You don't want to be cruel, but renting to single mothers, if you are a owner-landlord, is hazardous. Now, she's mentioned some things. You don't want to rent to a single mother because she's maybe looking for a man, and other women find that threatening. There's a parade of men coming in and out of the house. There is She may be a cocktail jockey. She may be. There's a few things here that sounded to me like a profiling situation. Nonetheless, single mothers have got it tough. And they certainly are looking for a place to live that's safe, clean, good schools like anybody else. 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show.
The Phil Hendry Show, 1-800-449-8686. Relocating the edge and jumping over.
449-8686.
All right, we're back with Margaret Gray. Ms. Gray is not only a newspaper writer, she's also a landlord. She rents to a lot of families in townhomes. Where are most of these, by the way?
We have a lot of very beautiful units still out in the Pasadena area. It's a wonderful area, good schools.
So naturally, single mothers are going to want to go out there.
Well, families are going to want to go out there. My priority are the families, the nuclear families. A single mother, I will look at them when they come to rent, and I don't make any bones about it. I will look them square in the eye, and I will say to them, you are to stay away from the men in this complex. They are married men, and I really don't want to hear about you trying to get your hooks into any of them. Now, if you agree to that, I will look at the rest of your application. So you pin them to the wall pretty quick.
Even women you just met?
I'm sorry?
Even women you just met?
You have to be clear. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a world of there's the possibility of venereal disease, palimony suits.
All right, okay. Let me just get to some phone calls. 1-800-449-8686. Jay Lynn, hello. You're on the Phil Hendry Show.
Hi, I'd like to make a point in regards to the fact about single parents. I happen to be a single parent, and I am a career person. I actually am a homeowner, but the point I'd like to make, first of all, is that single parents, single moms or dads are generally the hardest working people in the industries. Reason being is because they don't have the luxury of a second income.
Well, you're profiling now. You're profiling, and I don't think you can do that.
And actually, so have you been. So in fairness, yes, I guess I am.
That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Well, no,
and actually, I live that life, and I happen to work in the real estate industry also. I have worked in mortgage and in escrow for the last 10 years.
Well, then you know what I'm talking about. You know that first of all, single mothers, I'm not trying to say anything other than you've got to...
Okay, no, you have made the point that single mothers with children that have multiple children with different parents are basically, what you were saying, are loose, and that they have bad morals. Well, I actually have 3 children, one of which is from a prior relationship whom I was married to.
Well, that's my point.
And,
that's my point.
Well, no, but you know what? You were generalizing, and so in fairness, let me share this.
Yeah, let the lady talk.
But she's admitting to what I'm saying. Multiple partners.
Sure.
Well, she was married more. You were married more than once, right, Jaylyn?
Yes, I'm actually in a relationship. I'm married now again,
right.
but yes, I was married. I have only been with very limited people, so therefore I don't fall into your loose category, and it actually is very insulting because I work in the same industry you do, and actually probably make just as much, if not more money than you do.
I'm not saying that you don't work hard. I totally understand, and I also admire you. I admire you for for rising above what you, in essence, you've risen above what you are to become a homeowner. But these other women who are renters, looking around for every man in the complex, coming out to the pool, going over to the Coke machine, everything hanging out of their shorts. You're basically saying, though, that because I'm a single mother that I'm going to be gallivanting around looking for men in your complex if you were to rent to me, which is totally ludicrous because you know what? Listen. That is totally ludicrous because you know what? Just because you are a single parent does not make you a whore. Therefore, that does not... Well, okay. Whatever you say. Look, you say you've been married twice.
How old are you?
You say you've been married twice. How did you meet the current husband?
How did I meet him?
Yes.
Actually, I went to high school with him.
Well...
So does that make me rude?
Were you dating before him?
Excuse me? No, actually, I didn't.
Well, like I say, you're a homeowner, so I don't think we can judge single women on you.
No, but she said that when she was a renter, she wasn't loose.
I was a renter.
Yeah, when she was a renter, she wasn't loose.
No, she didn't say that. She said when she was a renter, she had multiple children by multiple partners. Now she's owning.
Okay.
Okay.
But you know what? I think you're missing the point. The point is that you have generalized.
All right.
You have generalized that single parents are loose, incapable of holding down a family lifestyle.
Have you ever worked takeout?
No. Well, actually, I take that back. When I was 15, I did.
Well, that doesn't count, but...
All right, look, Jalen, I think you've made some good points. I'm going to move on. 1-800-449-8686. Here is Barbara. Barbara, you're on the Phil Henry Show with Margaret Gray. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, hi, Barbara.
Ma'am, may I ask you please to cover up? I mean, I really don't like this picture, and I'm not certain our viewers do either, of you flailing around naked in the bathtub. While discussing how
you've got an imagination, don't you? You've really got an imagination. Let's stick to the point.
While discussing other women that have had a bad relationship and had to divorce and remarry are trash.
Have you been drinking?
No, ma'am, I don't drink.
Have you had a stroke recently?
I had a stroke on February 17th, 2003.
All right. There's still a little bit of paralysis in the tongue, isn't there?
All right. Well, we don't have to point that out, do we?
No, I just wondered what...
Well, I do have physical therapy, and I am a med student now.
I'm the host of the show, Barbara. You're fine. Go ahead with your comments.
Thank you.
Well, I just noticed some slurring.
Go ahead, Barbara.
And I noticed the flailing in the water. That is just so
You've
rude.
got a real imagination, and I'm beginning to be very uncomfortable.
Well, you said you were in the bathtub.
I'm very uncomfortable with your comments.
I'm uncomfortable with yours, ma'am.
What have I said? You're noticing that I'm... What, are you imagining my naked body in the water? I mean...
Oh, come on. Ladies, can't we get past this?
Well, she wants to comment
on
my
point
body.
when you stated that incontinent child needed to be shunned away. That is such a sad, pathetic way of being.
Have you quit fantasizing about me in order for me to go...
Just forget about what she said.
About you.
I said that a single mother certainly has it very difficult, but as a landlord, I must take into consideration the fact that she'll have men parading in and out of there at all hours. I have other people...
How so?
I'm sorry? I own a duplex in Altadena, one half of a very lovely couple, the Walkers. The other I rented to this Julia Beckett, who was a single mother, 3 children. I'm very concerned. She sent over some bacon to the Walkers that is... Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Or is your nurse there?
No, actually, my son just came up to me and spoke to me. He's a little more important.
Who? Your son?
Yes, he's 23.
So you were able to have children even though you were paralyzed?
I'm not paralyzed.
Well, you said that the whole left side of your face was paralyzed.
I never said
she didn't say that. She didn't say it at all. Listen, Barbara, thank you. 1-800-449-8686. I don't want to keep harping on anybody's maladies.
Phil, she commented on the fact that I'm taking a bath, and I apologize to your listeners. I'm trying to, as I said, multitask. I have a son that I have to get over to his uncle's house tonight. Frank and I are leaving for Austria. I did promise to be on your program. When you have a woman calling in, I'd like to stick to the point. I'd rather not have women calling in and fantasizing about me taking a bath. I'm trying to get clean. I'm not here propping my legs on the tile wall with the faucet running.
Okay, come on. Can we just please stick to the point here? 1-800-449-8686. Single mothers, are they a good person to rent to? Margaret Gray says, unfortunately, no, they're not. It has a lot to do with their morals and the kinds of jobs they have. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Henry Show.
The Phil Henry Show, 1-800-449-8686.
That ain't cucumber dressing.
Phil Henry Show is back. 1-800-449-8686.
With me is Margaret Gray, the nationally syndicated newspaper columnist about single mothers renting and how it is a hazard to rent to single mothers. And again, you're in the middle of your bath there, Margaret. We don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, it's fine, Phil. I wanted to thank you, and your listeners' indulgence is appreciated. Can I mention a story from my childhood, which I think is going to go a long way toward people recognizing really why I'm right about single mothers. My mother, Brenda, was a single mother. My brother and I grew up without a father until I was in my early teens, and my brother, John, was 8 or 9 years of age. And it is difficult to tell other people that had normal childhoods what it's like to grow up with a mother where every night you could hear squeaking bed springs and laughter and the clinking of glasses and more squeaking bed springs. This was terribly traumatic for me. My mother loved to drink Courvoisier. To this day, I hate Courvoisier, and if anyone tries to serve it at a party, we had a party catered for my niece when she was married, and I told the caterer, I said, if you bring Courvoisier into my home, I will get violent. I won't just ask you to leave. I will get violent.
All right, so you were traumatized, okay?
But I had a single mother. You understand? And this is why I had a call from Jim Riley, this gal who was a single mother had moved in. She's leaning against the door jamb saying, have you got change for the washing machines? This is what they do. And I raced right over there. As soon as I heard from Jim, I got in the car, I raced over, and there she was, lying by the pool with all of her bleached hair. These are the things I'm trying to say.
All right, 1-800, let me just get into some phone calls here. 1-800-449-8686. And again, I understand your childhood experience. Talk about single mothers are a hazard to rent to. Is it Surinder?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you're on the air on the Phil Hendry Show. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, actually, I have a question for this lady. Like, first of all, I want to ask, like, is she a single or is she
I'm married.
You're married?
Yes.
Okay, like, what's the main reason for you to, like, tell people that, like, it's not right? Like, why?
Right, were you listening to the show, sir?
Me?
Were you listening to the show?
Yeah.
Okay, then you should have all the answers to those questions.
Okay.
What's your comment?
My comment is, like, why she's treating, like, single
mom. I'd like to answer his question.
No, we don't. If the man was listening to the hour, he knows the answer to those questions.
No. Okay, I have another question. Like,
no,
why she's treating a single mom
okay,
or
sir,
single dad?
If you listen to the hour, then you have the answer to those questions. But thanks for calling. 1-800-449-8686. Vanessa, go ahead.
Thanks, Phil. I appreciate your show, and I just wanted to say, Margaret, I am sorry that you had a traumatic upbringing. You are speaking to a single mother who has raised an 18-year-old daughter who has just been accepted to a UC university under honors.
Are you a renter? Are you a renter?
I am a renter, and I, unfortunately, like 90%, if not more, single parents who work extremely hard would rather not be single parents, but this is the lot in life that has been dealt to us, and we work very hard. And for you to sit there and say that you don't want to profile, you are being hypocritical, because that's all you have done since you've been on this show. Since I've been listening for the last 45 minutes, you have profiled people and put them into a category, and that, my dear, is very prejudiced. Single mothers and single fathers work their tail off to give their children of a lifestyle that they try to be mother and father, and you sit there bombarding the conversation with antics that are not logistic nor factual.
Hold on for a minute. What is she saying, Vanessa, that isn't factual? The statement that single mothers are cocktail jockeys, this kind of thing?
Yes. Or? Absolutely, that they're whores, that they bring men in and out of their apartments, and that they track places in and out.
All right,
Darling, my apartment is used by my property managers to do financing, annual assessments for their increases, for their property.
How many jobs do you have right now, Vanessa?
I have one job. I work for a university.
Okay.
And I'm going for my master's degree.
When you are there at your apartment complex, you're trying to tell me you're not flirting with the men in the building?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
I am raising a daughter.
Oh, my God.
Well, are you calling her a liar?
Well, she just said she doesn't want to be single.
I choose not to be single, but I also chose to prioritize my life when I became a single parent to raise my daughter to do the best job and then become whatever life allowed me to become. But my first priority is to be a parent.
Have you ever had the dean over for dinner?
Hold on, can I ask what is the sound?
It would be inappropriate, and if I would be going over to a function where he and his wife would be among several other couples or adults.
Right. Vanessa, hold on. What is that, Margaret, what is that?
I'm sorry, Phil, I'm drying my hair. If you want me to stop?
Yes, it would be nice if you'd stop.
We have a plane to catch. I'm sorry. Vanessa, first of all, if your 18-year-old daughter were here, I'm sure she'd tell me that she had quite a few, shall we say, uncles. I am not putting you down for that. A woman's got to survive. Believe me, sister.
Margaret, there has not been one man in my apartment for 18 years. It wasn't my brother from biological brother, my friends from church, or...
Can you turn the hairdryer off, please?
So you are assuming a lot, and you know what the word assume means broken down when you take out you and me.
Well, what do you mean you don't have men coming over? Are you not? Do you not prefer men? I mean, I could very well
prefer men. I desire to be married, but as I've stated, listen clearly. People are listening to you. I'm asking you the same thing in return.
Go right ahead.
My priority is to raise my daughter. I wake up at 5:45 every morning. I do my reading. I get my daughter's breakfast. I help her get ready for the day. I take her to school. I then go to work. I work until 6 o'clock at night. I drive home. I do her dinner. I spend time with my daughter when I'm not doing homework because, as you hopefully heard earlier,
let me ask you the obvious question. Did she sleep in the same bed with you? Or were you one of these women that needed to have someone for comfort?
No, we live in a two-bedroom, wonderful apartment in San Diego, California, with wonderful landlords, and I have been here for 10 years.
Do you have complaints about the smell when she was younger? When she was younger?
Absolutely not. When you give a child a bath and
you haven't had a man in 18 years, you must spend a lot of time in the market looking at the
there are no problems.
Did you hear what I just said?
No, I did not. I was answering your previous question.
If you haven't had a man...
Well, I heard what you said, and I don't think it's appropriate.
Phil, if she hasn't had a man in 18 years, she's probably spent a lot of time in the market looking at the pickles.
Aren't you funny? Aren't you funny?
Darling, I am going for my master's degree. I'm taking you have any... Are you a parent?
I most certainly am. I have a wonderful son who is an aspiring actor.
Will you turn the hairdryer off, please?
Correct. You know what it takes to raise a child.
I do. It takes a man, as well as a woman, and a stable income, and not someone who is going to raise eyebrows around the complex because your jeans are cut off a little short and there's no bra under the halter top.
You know what, darling? Unfortunately,
Jerry.
A very small population. One bad apple does not spoil the whole tree.
Well, that's true, but the smell of dill must send you to the moon.
Are wonderful.
All right, Vanessa, thank you very much, and I have no doubt that in your case that's absolutely true. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
1-800-449-8686. And
did you hear what I said?
What?
The smell of dill must send her to the moon. What do you think of that, Frank?
I find it very offensive. That lady made a number of very wonderful points about a lot of hard-working women. She doesn't have all kinds of men traipsing through the...
I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm listening.
She doesn't have a lot of...
Did you say something?
Yeah, I'm on the radio right now saying something. Jerry, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendry Show.
Yes, I think this lady is very disrespectful. She's on the line with a hair dryer and got a nerve to judge the single women. Where's she coming from? And how in the world she going to tell the woman that about a pickle? She must be using a pickle herself.
You know,
number one. Now, let me tell you something, young ladies. I'm 52 years old. I raised 4 kids up by myself, worked 4 jobs, raising them up. Never had no problem with my teenage girls. Well, I didn't have no problem with boys running through my house, neither men.
When you rent...
No, let me finish talking.
Go right ahead. Do you mind if I dry my hair?
Yes, I do mind.
All right, then I won't. I'll walk out with hay hair. Thank you very much.
Well, you need to, because you disrespect the host and the other person that called before me. You disrespect them, too.
I don't remember.
Just go ahead, Jerry. You're go ahead, because you're making some good points.
Let me tell you something. I had 3 girls and 1 boy. And never one of my girls can say they have seen men in my house. I never had problems with my teenage girls, they boys in the house, or even my phone ringing 24/7. I never had that problem.
Jerry,
it's because I prayed and taught them the right way.
Jerry,
and I
when I was a little girl, I would
live in your apartment, a house town for nothing in the world.
Okay, Jerry.
Because you is a slut yourself.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm a married
woman. Yes, you are, because if you got a nerve to call single women those names, you talking about yourself.
Jerry.
What's coming out your mouth, that's exactly what you are.
All right, hold on, Jerry. I want to let Margaret respond.
Jerry, I'm just going to say this. When I was a little girl, I saw a cartoon.
You must well
now, may I finish? Is the host there?
Because you
is the host there?
Hold on. All right, Jerry, let her finish.
When I was a little girl, I saw a cartoon. It was a Daffy Duck cartoon. And he had a cousin visit from the South who was African-American, and you sound like him.
All right.
Right now, I want to tell you something.
Sounds like a black Daffy Duck?
Yes. You sound worse than he does.
Jerry, if you were that busy with 2 jobs and raising 4 kids, the Lord Almighty, I bet you were hanging around a cow tongue.
There's no way that I would get on the phone in the bathtub or disrespect the host by drying my hair while he's talking. That's so disrespectful.
No kidding. That's a great point.
Then you can talk to the single women, okay?
What was Daffy Duck's black cousin named?
I think it was David Duck or something like that, or Duriel Duck.
Duriel Duck.
Yes.
Jerry,
for you to call people tired tongues or pick at that lady because she had a stroke, who you think you are? Are you Bo or something?
Look, Jerry, I don't have the luxury of a weave. I have to dry my hair. You'll pardon me.
You must
I bid you adieu. There, it's dry.
Jerry, I think you've made some great points. Sorry you've been disrespected tonight. Ms. Gray, you've disrespected an awful lot of people. And
I don't see how, Phil.
Well, you have. And I think that you owe it to my listeners to at least give single women the benefit of the doubt that they have a very tough lot in life.
I have to keep drying my hair. Do you mind?
Go ahead.
Frank, hand me the dryer.
Anyway, as I was saying...
Oh, no, Frank, I'm in the bathtub!
Can I ask her, do she have daughters?
I've lost connection to the line, Jerry. What was your question?
I was wondering, do she have daughters?
I think she only has the son.
That's her problem.
Yeah.
Because she don't have daughters to love.
This is true.
She just...
well, I don't know who she's loving now. I thought I just heard her hair dryer
I'm quite sure the way she's talking...
Yeah.
She must was talking about herself, about the pickles and stuff, because that was so disrespectful.
Well, it was absolutely disgusting. Yes, Miss Gray?
I just want to ask Jerry, before you go, hold your cheeks back and say I was born on a pirate ship.
You must have gotten to say you was born on a pirate ship.
Listen, Jerry, thank you so much for your call.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you got electrocuted in that bathtub. Hello?
Yes, I did too.
Get out of here.
Well, you're the one making me do the stuff that...
What do you mean, hold your cheeks back and say I was born on a pirate ship? What's that going to sound like? 1-800-44... Oh, I get it. 1-800-449...
I'm just drying my hair.
Get out of here, bud. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendry Show.
Phil Hendry Show. 1-800-449-8686.
You would stick an ice pick into a baby to save a cougar in a bush.
Rigel. She's a principal at Emma E. Booker Elementary School. And she was the teacher in a classroom full of, I think they were third graders, as they were reading stories. This is the Phil Hendry Show. In a moment, we're going to mention the situation at Burger King. Burger King has said it will make its suppliers follow guidelines for humane animal treatment. Apparently, there have been some criticisms about the way animals are being slaughtered in some of the meats served at Burger King. Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills is going to join us and talk to us about the kinds of the kind of meat that they sell at their restaurant and how animals are treated in that process. But first, we want to tell you we've raised $125,739.50 for My Friend's Place, a resource center for homeless and runaway kids in Hollywood. And if you'd like to help them, you can call 877-616-PHIL and buy a stinking CD. We appreciate all of you guys who've come through for us. You guys that listen to this program with absolutely no charge, no gun held to your head. How about buying a CD? How about a little $20 donation to the fine people of My Friend's Place? You'll be glad you did. Ted Bell is on the line from Beverly Hills. I know it's kind of a busy, getting ready for a busy weekend for you, Ted. Did I call you Tid or Ted?
That sounded like Ted to me, Phil.
Okay. I know it's a busy week for you, getting ready for a even busier weekend because it's the first weekend after daylight savings.
Yeah, we seem to, and I don't know why it is, we seem to get an upswing in business. I guess it's because the sun it stays brighter later, and people are more apt to go out to dinner.
Okay, tell me about this situation at Burger King, and then tell me about your restaurant. Officials for the Miami-based company called said it will abide by the American Meat Institute's good management practices for animal handling and stunning.
Well, first of all, that is a voluntary abiding by the guidelines by Burger King. Burger King is located in Miami. I think that's the company you were talking about, Phil.
And they said that they would abide by that?
They said they'd abide by that. A lot of the measures are aimed at goals like making suppliers stun animals before slaughtering them. And I guess the Burger King people said that they always believed in humane treatment of animals. A lot of those officials at Burger King said the announcement was based on recommendations from an expert panel before PETA launched a boycott. And let me comment on this. At my restaurant, we don't back down from threats by PETA. Of all the organizations that you're going to take seriously, Phil, and of all the organizations that you would want to be intimidated by, I think PETA is the last one on my list. There is nothing about that organization that I find even the least bit intimidating. There's nothing about anybody at PETA that would even begin to tell you that they're connected.
All right, well, besides not being intimidated by PETA, you have some fundamental differences with this so-called slaughtering, ethical slaughtering.
I don't think there's any unethical way of slaughtering it. It so happens that we serve a very good product, and the quality of the steak we serve is in direct proportion to the way the animal is ultimately executed, the way the animal is ultimately treated. When you chase and scare an animal before you slaughter it, some people may consider that to be cruel, but the adrenaline pumps through the animal. It actually makes the meat more tender and flavorful. And we have for 25 years never hid this from our customers. And
hid what? That you chase the beef before you slaughter it?
We have for 25 years assured our customers that the beef we use has been chased, scared almost to death, and then slaughtered. Now, our suppliers...
You tell your customers that.
We tell our customers that the beef is high in adrenaline content and therefore is very flavorful and therefore is very tender. And obviously this comes from a long-honored practice, Phil. This is not something that's new. The time-honored practice of chasing an animal over the open range, scaring it repeatedly, and then slaughtering it. In fact, we are one of the few remaining restaurants that provide steaks from steer that have been guaranteed on a cattle drive, driven across the prairie in a cattle drive. And we're talking about...
Where is the cattle driven? You guys drive the steaks you buy are from steers that have been in a cattle drive?
Generally from the beef growing areas of Texas and Oklahoma, that's correct.
To where?
To the major rail centers. And in the Midwest, that's you're generally talking about Missouri and Kansas. Stunning the cow or executing the cow in a so-called humane fashion really, Phil, destroys the taste, the tenderness, and of course, the danger of infection.
All right, let me talk to you straight here, Ted. We're talking with Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills, 1-800-449-8686. They have a steakhouse. You have a steakhouse. The steaks that you serve are from animals that have been chased and scared and almost scared to death and then slaughtered.
That's correct.
All right, the question that I have is, I had a question for you. The question that I want to ask you then is this idea of a cattle drive. How I thought, first of all, was no longer in use.
What is So the cattle drive?
That's right.
Oh no, they still drive cattle. The cattle drive is still very much a part of how we take a lot of beef to market. Not a lot of restaurants use that meat. Not a lot of PETA and a lot of these people, these ethical animal treatment centers, they try to, they basically have been trying to shut down the cattle drives for a good 35 years. But no, we still purchase our beef from those suppliers that have made sure the steer have been on a cattle drive, have been driven for days until they find water, and then eaten open grassland. And we think that it is a tremendous, flavorful steak, and it comes from a cow that's almost been frightened to death and has been driven hard. And
all right, what about the cruelty? That's what I wanted to ask you. What about the cruelty to the animal aspect to all of this?
Phil, this is not cruelty to an animal. First of all, the cow, the steer, is one of the dumbest animals in nature. Now, this is not a dog. This isn't a cat. This isn't a monkey. It's not a dolphin. It's a cow. It is so stupid, so utterly stupid, that the cow doesn't really realize what's happening to itself. It eats grass. It eliminates waste. It's whipped across the prairie. It gets slaughtered, and then it dies.
All right, but if it doesn't know what's happening to itself, then why does it get scared?
That's purely a physical adrenaline reaction. There is no emotion of fear that a cow feels. So there is no real unethical way to treat a steer and no unethical way to treat a cow. That's why the number one concern that we have in the steakhouse business is that we serve up a flavorful steak. Animals are here to serve us. When the adrenaline is forced through the meat, they're much more tender and juicy. And the human species, the dominant species, this is a conversation that I always have to have with people, a lot of the people who visit the restaurant, because people have this idea that cows are like people, that they feel. Cows lick the inside of their own nostril. That's how stupid they are. This is how stupid they are. And I think that people need to understand this, and they're going to live a lot happier. And by the way, Ted's of Beverly Hills is the only steakhouse that I am aware of in Southern California which uses meat from the stunned cow, from the non-stunned cow, I should say, the cow that's scared to death. And
well, this is news, obviously, that doesn't fall on the ears of animal activists or the people at PETA or anything else. It doesn't fall on their ears with a happy sound. These are people who believe that these animals are treated badly and that they want them to be stunned.
But a stunned cow, Phil, the other thing is the danger of infection from the stunned cow, because if you eat the meat from a stunned cow, there is, and of course we now know so much about mad cow disease, we now know that people who eat the meat of a stunned cow can take on the stunned trait of the cow. Test scores have dropped, driving skills are lowered. You eat a steak from a stunned cow, you possibly could be driving impaired. And then
you're talking about eating the meat of a stunned cow, causing the human who eats that meat to be stunned.
We are right now backing House Bill 35A. It's co-sponsored by a very good friend of mine, Kirk Stafford, which makes it a felony to drive stunned by proxy. And that's basically aimed at a lot of these steakhouses that are serving stunned steaks. It's a DSBP. You eat a stunned cow steak and you could go to jail. These are the things that we're talking about.
Eat a stunned cow steak.
Because the stunned aspect of the meat does begin to pervade the mind of the recipient. We don't, at Ted's of Beverly Hills, serve any steak from any cow that's been stunned. And that's...
All right, 1-800-449-8686. What were you going to say?
That's just the way we've been doing business for 25 years.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. We're talking to Ted from Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills. It's a steakhouse. And all of this came about because Burger King was accused of apparently preparing hamburgers from the meat of cows that were inhumanely slaughtered or steer. And apparently he believes, Ted says, that they don't serve a steak in their restaurant that isn't from a cow or steer that hasn't been chased and scared. Because apparently the adrenaline makes the meat a lot more tender. The other thing that he is mentioning is the sponsoring of a House bill here in the state of California, which makes eating the meat of a stunned steak or a stunned cow steak illegal because you could drive impaired. Now, I've never heard of that, and I'd certainly like to see the scientific literature on that. That if a cow is stunned and then I eat the steak, I'm suddenly stupid, or I get more stunned or something. Is that what he said? All right, 1-800-449-8686. We'll be back to talk to Ted Bell. Oh, and also, isn't he serving up steak that's from beeves that have been on a cattle drive? That one. 1-800-449-8686. This is the... Okay, turn that off. Turn it off. We don't need the rawhide theme, and I don't want to treat this with any other kind of commentary than the dignity that it deserves, the possible cruelty to animals, or the possibility that cows are too stupid to even know that someone's scaring them. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show. 498-686. Welcome to the Phil Hendry Show. Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills is on to talk with us. As a restaurant owner, Ted, you understand that you have a lot of competitors. Now, Burger King says that they're going to abide by the humane treatment of animals or how they're slaughtered. Or
this is all, Phil, a lot of it is public relations, and Burger King doesn't want the bad PR.
Well, okay, but Burger King wants to use meat from animals that have been humanely slaughtered. You say an animal that's humanely slaughtered is not as flavorful as one that has been chased, scared.
Well, I'll put it to you simply: the most flavorful and tender meat comes from the steer or cow that has been scared to death. Now, on Survivor...
Scared to death.
That is correct. If you can chase a cow and just scare the hell out of it, you have got one of the porterhouse, tender as a mother's heart. The pig on Survivor. Do you remember the pig on Survivor?
Yeah, the one that they stabbed. And they scared that one.
They scared... probably the best pork chops came out of that pig. Scared the crap out of that pig. And I'll tell you right now, that's a pork chop. It's a shame to see them bow to the animal extremists, is all I'm saying. So I guess if you want some good meat, you need to come to my place.
1-800-449-8686. LB on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello.
I wouldn't be caught dead in your place. I mean, animals feel pain.
You don't want a good steak.
Hey, let me say listen, I've had plenty of good steaks. I'm a meat eater, and I'll tell you something. Animals should be treated humanely. They feel pain. They have central nervous systems, and they do feel pain.
But they
Just
don't,
because
they
they're
don't
stupid.
register the information the same way. They don't think if somebody's being cruel to me. It's just pain. Okay?
It says pain.
Yeah, it's not. There's no intelligence that connects the pain to anything other than, oh, gee, that's painful.
Well, I don't think it's right. It's very wrong
LB,
to do that.
Look, you want to bow to the animal extremists. That's your business.
There's no extremists. There's not people who are extreme. I'm not extreme. I eat animals all the time.
Okay.
But I want the meat to be humanely treated.
Well,
I want animals to be
do you want a good
treated.
steak or do you not? Do you want a good steak or do you not?
No, not if it's that's the price I have to pay.
When you've had a steak from an animal that's been chased and screwed with and then killed.
What do you mean screwed with?
Are you listening to yourself talk about how stunned? If I eat a steak that's been from a cow that's been stunned and it was processed a month ago, whenever it was, that I'm going to drive erratically or something? Your argument. At least get a decent argument. Get an argument that people will believe. Okay.
I happen to have an argument based upon House Bill 34A, which is sponsored by State Senator Kirk Stafford.
Oh, and I'm sure you're paying him off plenty to do this. All the laws that get passed are passed by politicians who are in your pocket. And the pockets of people who are in the industry.
What I'm saying is that animal that has been stunned, you're telling me you willingly eat the meat of a stunned animal?
Absolutely. I'd rather do that or I'd rather do without.
That explains this conversation then.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, you can't even figure out what I just said.
I think that your argument is ludicrous.
I
think that anybody who believes this is an idiot.
How do you scare an animal to death?
There are a number of ways. Are you a cop?
Am I a cop? No.
Yeah. What is that radio I hear?
No, that was about. I thought I was off the air.
What? You got a radio in there?
He's probably a truck driver, LB.
No, I'm in the clothing business.
We scare a cow to death by putting a bed sheet over another cow's. You can do the cow ghost thing. There's a lot of things you can do. Okay.
Hey, listen, we can agree to disagree. I think it's a wrong thing to do.
Well, if you don't think the cow ghost thing, but I will tell you this much. That if you continue to eat the meat from a stunned cow, you are running the risk of just getting dumber and dumber as the days go by.
Yeah, that's a risk I'm willing to take. I mean, this is pretty scientific stuff you've come up with. Some politician wants a law because you're paying him money, and then you're going to get... I mean, come on.
You should pull over and relinquish... All right, fine, but what I'm saying to you, mark my words.
I eat the meat of a stunned cow, and the stunnedness rubs off on me?
Yes.
I think
eventually.
I think it already did. Maybe it's true.
Oh, okay, well, maybe it's true then. And if it's true for me, it's true for you, LV.
All right, sir, thank you for your call. 1-800-449-8686. What do you mean you put a sheet over another cow with whole eyes, the eyes? What do you mean cow ghost? I don't understand.
You're asking me about how the animals are scared. And you can do it a variety of ways.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Joanna on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
I like to totally disagree with the whole fact about eating a stunned cow will make you stunned and stupid.
Well, let me ask you something, Joanna, and I think I already know the answer to this. Do you eat the meat of a stunned cow?
I don't think I care whether the meat was stunned or scared. I don't think that I'm going to be stunned, and I don't think that I'm going to be scared
You don't feel stunned.
Scared cow.
You don't feel stunned.
No, I don't feel stunned. Do you think I'm going to feel scared from eating the meat from a scared cow then?
No, I do not.
1-800-449-8686. Here is Jerry on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello.
How's it going?
Yes, sir.
First point, the fact that the meat tastes better when there's adrenaline flowing through the body, that is simply ludicrous. I've eaten beef.
Wait a minute. Before I start getting opinions from all kinds of people, how do you know?
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, but see, okay. First of all, I would appreciate if you to respect my
That's fine. I just want to make the point, though, Phil, that I have before me House Bill 35A, co-sponsored by.
We got that. Kirk Stafford. I understand that.
Okay. Anyway, first of all, my family comes from a long line of cattle raisers here in Texas. I have eaten cattle.
Great cattle.
I have eaten cattle that has been scared before it was slaughtered. And then I've eaten cattle that was slaughtered before it ever even knew what hit it.
Which cow do you? How do you know it was scared? How do you know?
And I was raised around it. I've been there. I've been there
so
at the
you
time
saw
of slaughter.
Actively scared.
I've been there at the time of slaughter, and I'm gonna tell you what makes more of a difference in what that meat tastes like is what that cow was fed and how that cow was taken care of prior to the slaughter,
Jerry,
and how the meat was prepared,
Jerry,
rather than the fact that the adrenaline, was flowing through the body so much that it caused the animal to.
Well, Jerry, I appreciate your experience as a breeder or as a grower of cattle. You have to appreciate my experience as a restaurant owner, as the purveyor of the steak, and I can tell you, you can sneak up behind a cow, scare hell out of it, and you've got yourself the best tasting steak that money can buy.
And if you believe that, you are an imbecile.
Jerry, I didn't insult you. Why do you feel the need to insult me?
Well, what about this? What about this stunned to death thing, or the fact that the stunnedness will wear off?
That's a load of mess. First of all, I don't think. First of all, what I would like to know, I'd like to ask you a question, really.
Yes, sir.
And that's what sources would you cite as getting the scientific evidence that eating meat from a stunted cow causes
first of all, you got to look at a couple of reports out of the University of California, Chico. As I said to Mr. Hendry, and he keeps trying to cut me off, I have State Senator Stafford's bill.
I'm not trying to cut you off. You've been referring to State Senator Stafford's bill for the last half hour.
Wherein, well, you may find it funny, wherein he describes the deleterious effects of eating stunned meat by proxy, which is DSBP, and that we're trying to keep these people off the road. You come to Ted's of Beverly Hills, and you're not going to eat any stunned meat. You're going to eat meat from a cow that got the Christ scared out of it. And I can tell you right now, you chase a cow down dressed as Lauren Green from Bonanza, a cow's going to recognize the strength, crap its pants, and it's dead.
Yeah. I respect that you have your opinion, and that's fine, but I just think it's ludicrous.
You really sound like you respect me. I don't think you respect me at all, and it hurts.
No, I respect your opinion.
No, I think it hurts. It hurts a great deal.
All right. Gee, that's too bad. 1-800-449...
Now that hurts.
Okay, 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show.
A lot of fun.
Okay, 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show. Ted's of Beverly Hills Steakhouse is in Beverly Hills, California. They use only the meat from cows that have been scared to death or have been scared really good before they're slaughtered, not stunned, because you say it's not as tasty. And you're also saying that eating the meat from a stunned cow will cause the recipient to take on the stunned effects. And
Absolutely. Because what happens, Phil, is a lot of neurotransmitters are released into the system, and this is stuff that a lot of your listeners don't understand, so they're not in any position to tell me, biochemically, whether I'm right or not.
Well, you're not a doctor, so you can't tell me that because I go out and eat steak from a cow that got stunned that I'm suddenly going to have a lower test score. You said,
well, you go ahead, eat a cow, eat steak from a stunned cow. Go to Ruth's Chris, go to some of these places where they so-called have meat from animals that were slaughtered humanely, and you'll walk out of there so stupid. You'll walk out of there, and there's a good chance you'll walk out of there dumber than the cow you ate. Now think of that. That's why Kirk Stafford, a state senator, is co-sponsoring this bill. That's why we support it. And that's why in Southern California, the only place to eat a steak is Ted's of Beverly Hills, where the animal is chased, scared almost to death, and then slaughtered.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Mike on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello.
Hello?
Mike, yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. First of all, I'm not going to insult your caller.
Thank you, sir.
Just going to tell you.
I appreciate that very much.
First, I was raised on a ranch. And raised Angus.
You were raised on Angus.
We were raised Angus cows.
You were raised as Angus cows? I don't know.
They raised Angus cows.
Yes.
All right, sir.
The best steaks come from certified Angus cows. Second, your cow-drive theory will drive a person out of business.
How did you scare a cow
because you're going to drive the meat right off of them and make them hard.
That's what I was thinking.
No. What you're doing is you're scaring the cow.
All that muscle is.
You're scaring the cow. How did you scare a cow before the slaughter? By the way,
I went all the way from when they were shooting them to the darts, and now the stuns.
But you scared them first, didn't you?
At the present time,
okay.
I own 12 steakhouses.
And you were raised as an Angus cow.
And the only thing I serve
is
Black Angus.
All right. How are they scared? Hello, Mike? Mike? Okay, see, Mike was raised as an Angus cow, number one. And number two, Mike eats stunned beef. And that's what I'm talking about. He could be stupider than the cow that he ate.
I know, I got that already. I think the man's, what happened was his car phone went out. Here is Fred on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, you're basically making the same point that other guy made. Here is Judy on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello. Judy.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, this gentleman, Ted, I think he's preposterous for saying such things. I mean,
can I ask your qualifications before you begin to characterize my opinions?
Yes. I'm a businesswoman of 22 years in my own legal practice.
Have you ever been involved in the scaring and subsequent slaughter of Black Angus?
As of scaring, no. My father does own a ranch, though, in Utah.
Right, you did not personally scare a Black Angus?
I've never personally scared a Black Angus. But...
Were you raised also as an Angus cow? Because the last guy...
He didn't say he was raised as an Angus cow. He raised Angus cows.
Go ahead.
I don't see how at all you can even begin to say that this is true.
Well, ma'am, I offered Mr. Hendry findings from the School of Animal Husbandry at the California State University of Chico.
There's no such thing.
There's no California State University of Chico.
Not for the class that whatever you took. There's no art.
Judy, there is an art called animal husbandry, so obviously you haven't been around cows or anything. This is Phil Hendry. I'm the host, so...
Judy, leave the information of the industry to the experts, okay?
Animal husbandry is breeding animals. You've never heard of that? Judy? Okay, so apparently we caught her in being a little dumb. And
there's another person that ate some stunned beef for breakfast.
Okay.
You have got more in it. This is the thing that scares me. You got a 22-year... First of all, she said she was a 22-year-old businesswoman. She sounded like a battle axe at 50. Secondly...
Well, wait a second, man. The lady was making a point that she'd never heard about the whole, eating the meat of a stunned animal. And so, therefore, she...
Therefore, she goes ahead and eats the meat of a stunned animal, calls your show, and sounds stunned. What we are asking is for people to pick up the phone, call State Senator Kirk Stafford. Let's get House Bill 35A on its way, because if you got people out there eating stunned beef, they're going to be driving around under the influence of a stunned cow, and we can't have that. And scaring the animal is the only way. And I'm telling you now, if you can get a sheet, get a costume, anything, a cheetah costume, scare a cow, and save this state from the ultimate embarrassment of people driving around with a stunned cow sitting shotgun, almost with a stunned cow sitting shotgun and a gun to your head.
All right, Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills, we appreciate your phone call, and of course, no, we will not call Kirk Stafford. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show. Phil Hendry Show here. Stun cows, huh? All right. I got to tell you, just if you folks will forgive me, Mike, what are you doing to me over here? Booking this guy from Ted's of Beverly Hills is going to it's going to put me on a cattle drive. And then I've got a guy calling up and saying that he was raised as an Angus cow. He didn't raise Angus cows. His parents put a little Angus suit on him and raised him as an Angus cow, because they thought that would somehow ready him for the world. Somehow being raised as a dairy cow gets you set for the tribulations and pitfalls of life. I don't agree. And that's putting it mildly. Well, today we wrapped up the little experience that I've been having over the last couple